Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
Okay, so the first category I wanted to talk about are what I call wanted needs. Okay, so, what is something that you think every entrepreneur should have? Coming into a skill set, as a skill set to be an entrepreneur, what is something they should have?
Well, I mean, everybody would tell you something different on that, but to me, I think you need to be caring. You need to be thoughtful. You need to take ownership. I believe that troubleshooting is a big thing when it comes to being an entrepreneur or business owner or CEO or whatever, because there's a lot of trouble out there, right? And so, let's say you were kind of the inventor entrepreneur, you find trouble and you figure out how to resolve that issue, right? Yeah. Let's say you're a business entrepreneur and you're running a business, there's going to be troubles in there, and how are you going to resolve those issues? I also think the flip side of that too, which I think is a lot of times we neglect as business people or entrepreneurs or whatever, is what about the great things? What about being a good finder, and how will you celebrate that? Right. Yeah. And so we're always talking about troubleshooting, which is the life of an entrepreneur. Yeah. But I think that we can also always flip the script and say, what are the good things and how are we celebrating that? Yeah. I have an individual system, and the fifth component of that, so to speak, talks about that. Yeah. So we have likes, dislikes, and undecideds. So when you like something, how are you celebrating? Yeah. And I think most people in life, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, I don't think people celebrate the good things that they do. And there's a lot of things that are good going on in the day. Count sometimes. I've done it before. Count the good things that you've done in a day, whether the good things for yourself, like working out or cardio or different things of that nature, or whether you've done good things for others or whatever. And you'll be surprised it gets into the hundreds pretty quick. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being an entrepreneur and meeting up with another entrepreneur, what are some needs that need to happen to meet up with them, right? Like, what's something that you need? Yeah, that you need.
Well, I don't think there's needs. I think that there's hopefuls, meaning, so I think you guys need to be kind of like-minded. Okay. Not personality-wise. Okay. Right? Because opposites usually attract. A's attract to B's, wacko crazies, whatever, detailed-oriented whatevers are more, attracted to the dreamer and the whatever. So not in the form of that, but like some commonalities of, why are you doing this? Okay. So if Joe's doing it for money and you're doing it to help youth, and that's their primary and your primary, not that it won't fit together, but it may not be peanut butter and jelly. It may be peanut butter and honey, which is still good, right? Maybe better than jelly. Yeah. But other times it could be peanut butter and whipped cream, and you're like, it doesn't sound good, but sometimes when you put those things together, it still works out. Right. I had a buddy who, on white bread, we used to go over to his house. We would ditch school. Not really, Mom. As a school teacher, I'm telling, ditching school. In high school, and we'd go over to his folks' house, and they had white bread and whipped cream. And it sounds nasty, right? And we put it on there, but it actually tastes pretty good. Of course, I guess with whipped cream, we need a sponsor, Cool Whip. Just kidding. But with whipped cream, I guess anything can go good. But you wouldn't think that would go together well, but it was actually better than what you thought. Or I don't know if do you do tuna at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, tuna and mustard, like that grosses me out to think about it, but a lot of people swear by tuna and mustard versus tuna and mayonnaise. So, just because it seems like it won't go, sometimes those are the best fits, believe it or not.
Right. Gotcha. And, I know you brought up your individual system. Yeah. So what is needed of the mindset to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same that's needed for anything. Okay. Right? Number one, under mindset, you must take ownership. Period, in the conversation. Yeah. If you take ownership, the monkey hook to that is you're going to be thoughtful. Okay. And if you take ownership and you're thoughtful, and especially if you're thoughtful around others, not yourself, you're going to probably be pretty darn successful. right?
Got it.
I call myself a caption looker.
Okay.
And so I walk around and I look at the caption for you. I look at the caption for the audience. What is it that if they were watching this video as an entrepreneur, what are some things, hopefully a bunch of things, 10, 20, 30, 50 things that I might be able to express to them that will add value to them, that will help them, that will support them in their journey of being an entrepreneur, because it's not always easy.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at somebody else, so if I've taken ownership of helping this person or you or whoever, myself, if I'm being thoughtful around that, I'm not a selfish, what I call donkey, right? And I care about others, and I look at their caption and how might I be able to help them. I've got probably 80+% of it down pretty good, as far as mindset goes. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a dad, whether you're a cousin, a friend, an employee, whatever, if you do that, you're probably in pretty good shape.
Pretty good shape, yeah. Yeah, very true. When it comes to being, or how about when it comes to learning, as an entrepreneur, what, I know the saying, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So
I wish you could tell my kids that, and my wife.
Yeah.
Not you, Susan.
Who do you think it's best to emulate or learn from starting out, as a starting out entrepreneur?
I think, you're going to look at your mom and dad. You're going to look at your grandma and your grandpa, your nana, your papu, your papa, your auntie, So, let's look at who we are, right? Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
So you right now, me right now, the audience right now is a collection of genetics / DNA.
Yeah.
Their environmental conditioning, which is, I think, what we're going to get into more in a minute. Yeah. Right? And then there is, if you're lucky, you have a God lens. God smacks you somewhere. Yeah. And you get that lens. And then you have these experiences, throughout. Yeah. And then you have circumstances. And to me, people go, what's the difference between a circumstance and an experience? And I say, well, a circumstance doesn't always have to be negative, but I usually use one. If your kid, your child got ran over by a drunk driver, that's a circumstance. Yeah. And you're going to turn that into something. Right. Versus, let's say, if your dad was an alcoholic, that would be an experience that you're reliving over and over and over again. Yeah. And so when you take a look at that, that's what we're a collection of, right? Yeah. Would you agree? Yes. The second part is we're a collection of habits, rituals, customs, processes, procedures, and I could go on and name 20 other words, but I call those things systems. Right. So then the question becomes, as an entrepreneur, or a mom or a dad or whatever, are you doing those things based off of tradition, or are you doing those based off of choice? Yeah. And either direction, they can go good, bad, or somewhere in between. So let's talk about that. So I'm guessing before you get in the shower, you take your clothes off. Is that right?
No, I like to shower with my clothes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I take them off. Yes, absolutely.
Well, he's not looking for a lady anytime soon. Yeah. Yeah. Right. I mean, that was a traditional habit that most people do. Yes. Right. That's just the way that they roll out, or whatever the case may be. Right. In that case, it makes total sense. Yeah. Right. The old saying about, the little gal that asked her mom, why did they cut the back part of the ham? That's a tradition that doesn't make sense because you're wasting ham. Yeah. Right? And so there's all of these traditions that we do that make sense. But there's some things we do that don't make sense, and yet we're not making the choice to change those. We have a choice. Yeah. The tail doesn't wag the dog. Right. Right? Yeah. The dog should wag the tail. Yeah. Right? And so I think that with systems and with these habits and customs, do we want to change our systems, our thoughts, our beliefs around processes, procedures, habits, and so on and so forth? Yeah. And to me, I think that's what I bring to the table more than anything, because I'm very systemic in everything that I do. Got it. Okay. Makes sense. And, I think you've touched on this a little before. You break down people into quadrants. There's 4 quadrants. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And could you describe each one real quick, and then I'll ask you the question? Yeah. So to me, quadrant 1 people are low motivation, and low talent. Got it. Quadrant 2, highly motivated but low talent. Quadrant 3, the quadrant 3 people that will drive you crazy in business as an entrepreneur. If you're that person, if you know people like that, they're the toughest. And those are the people that are low motivation but high talent.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And especially as a former coach,
right.
You see so much in them, and you're like, God, if you could just, get motivated.
Right.
And then you have quadrant 4, I call it the rare unicorn, they're both highly motivated and highly talented. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so my question is, do you think that you can learn something from each and every one of them when they're talking, as they talk to you?
Of course. You can learn from anybody all the time.
Right.
You have to have a learner's mentality. Mm-hmm. So I'm a teacher, but I'm a learner first.
Right.
So I was a pretty good basketball coach, and I had a system. It took me 8 years from the time we got off the bus, and that's everybody, including our manager, our scorekeeper, you name it, everybody. We had a system that we ran. Our offense went to our defense. Our defense went into our break. Our break went into our press after a made bucket. Our side inbounds went into our offense. Our offense went back. So it was cyclical, right?
Yeah.
And so it took me 8 years to get it down to a science where everything in basketball would be able to come together as one. So my son was, I think, 3 or 4. It kind of looked like you, actually.
Okay.
A little shorter hair,
Sure,
but
yeah.
I won't get into that. But anyway, he was playing basketball for the first time, and this is just a little YMCA league, just fun, whatever. And so, I was a pretty good coach.
Yeah.
I could have been like, I pretty much know what I know, and it is what it is. But I wasn't that way. I'm a learner.
Yeah.
So he was just doing a simple give and go drill. This guy didn't know anything about basketball. I swear he didn't. Somebody's dad, right?
Yeah.
Probably never played basketball in his life, but he went on YouTube and researched give and go or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, I can incorporate that right specifically here within my offense. And that one little thing probably won us, an extra 3 games a year. Now, if I didn't have a learner's mentality, right, I'm all that and a bag of rocks, as my mom says, and a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't even be paying attention to, to grab that. And so I look at it and say, to be a learner, it didn't just help me, but it helped my kids, and it helped their mentality, right? They used to walk around, when you're undefeated, when you're 59-2, when you're, right, it gives you a little talk to your walk or some pep to your step.
Yeah.
And all of that is mindset.
Right.
You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Yeah.
And so, the question of, do you think you can learn, is a silly question. Of course you can. So what do you think hinders people from learning?
I think a lot of people are cocky. Right?
Yeah.
I could have been. Right? If you're Coach K out there, you've been pretty successful, right? If you're some of these other guys, I use sports and Bible as example. That's what I know the best.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, you can be extremely cocky, like, well, I know it all. Look at Nick Saban. He wins a national championship last night. He had to redo his whole offensive scheme, right? He was handing the ball off to the Derrick Henrys of the world, and he still has those, by the way. Those guys are amazing, right? But he's now hosing the ball all over, too.
500 yards.
He would have never have done that and scored 50-something points.
Yeah.
But he's a smart guy. He's a learner. So he said, what do I need to do differently to make sure that works? Well, as an entrepreneur, you don't have a choice.
Right.
If you don't learn and you don't change and adapt and whatever, you will be left behind. Guaranteed.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I appreciate that as we move.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
Well, I'm selling shovels, so for those of you that are shoveling dog crap out there,